Welcome to WomanVision TV. I'm your host, Nadia Giordana. I like to do a variety of fun and interesting things on the program. Much of the time that means I'll be interviewing one of the extraordinary women that I've met in my travels around town. Once in a while I'll do a cooking segment, and then again I might do something a little different. Today I do have a guest, Jennifer Espinosa-Goswami. She has a weight loss story in a lot of ways similar yet different from my own. So we're going to talk and compare notes, share some of our wisdom with you. Come join us. Hi Jennifer, welcome to the show today.
Hi, it's good to be here.
Yes, and what I wanted to do today, Jennifer, is first we're going to start out by hearing your story. For the audience, you and I have similar stories in that similar weight loss stories. You've lost 100 pounds or maybe a little bit more. I've lost 88 pounds. You're of the younger generation. I don't know which one you identify with, but I'm of the baby boomer generation. But both of us, or I should say neither of us, used commercial diet plans to reach our weight loss goals or to follow through on our maintenance. So to me it's going to be real fun to compare notes and see what the similarities and differences are. So tell us your story.
Well, thank you, Nadia. My story may be unlike you and like some people in the audience. I have always been overweight. I was always the fat girl. Some people call it the token fat girl. That would have been me. I just grew up eating way too much of the wrong things, and it caught up with me. I was always active when I was growing up, so it's not as if I didn't eat, burn off whatever I was eating, but I was eating the wrong things and too much of the wrong things. When I reached college, I was 100 pounds overweight, and I was extremely busy. I had a full load of credits at school at the University of Minnesota, and I was working 2 or 3 part-time jobs at the time, and I just didn't have time to focus on myself, to eat healthy, to do the things I needed to do. The year before I graduated, my grandmother, who was 88 years old, she passed away in the hospital, and she had struggled with heart disease for a long time. But she was rather the matriarch of our family, and I miss her dearly. She was a big inspiration to me. She outlived her husband by about 40 years, so she was a very active, very lively woman. I miss her a lot. But when Grandma passed away, I realized that I took a look at my own life and how I was treating myself. And I said, well, this is not the way I want to live. Will I live to see 80 years old? I don't think I will. And I decided at that point, let me try something. So I started trying to control what I ate, and it kind of went from there and ballooned into 100-pound weight loss.
That is fantastic. And did you know when you started this program that you were going to go that far, or did it evolve into that?
And that's a great question, because I feel that a lot of people want to lose weight right now, and they want to do it as quickly as possible, which is why they get roped into these programs and pills and all of that. When I first started, I wasn't trying to lose 100 pounds. In fact, for the audience, I would recommend you do not try to lose all the weight at once. Don't think of it that way. That's not how it works. That's not how you keep it off. In fact, my only goal was to write down what I ate. So for 1 month, I wrote down everything I ate. And when you write down what you eat, you realize what it is you're eating and how much you're eating. And you don't realize during the course of your day, if you're eating in front of the TV, if you're eating while you're reading, if you're eating while doing something else, you're eating a lot more than you think you are. So that was the wake-up call for me. And I did that for 1 month, and I lost 20 pounds. And
just recording what you ate made you aware enough that in the first month you lost 20 pounds.
Exactly.
That's fantastic.
Exactly. And from there, I'm like, well, I lost 20. Let me see what else I can do. And I kept going.
I like that. And similarly, I remember when I set out to lose some weight, I didn't have the full goal in mind. I had an image of that, but I didn't have that set in stone. And I did start keeping a food journal. that opened my eyes, and I did immediately start cutting back, and I think I lost 20 or 30 pounds in the first month or two. So it was definitely very encouraging, and then it's like, wow, now where can I go? So then did you set up a plan, or did you look in hindsight when you got all the way down to the 100 pounds, what you had done and put it together for someone else? How did that work for you?
You know, I kind of just, one of the things I feel is important when you're trying to lose weight is you have to be flexible, and you have to be adaptable, and you have to be willing to experiment. I don't know if this is something that you also experienced, but supposing you hate a certain food, and you've always hated a certain food, but you know it's good for you. You have to experiment. Yeah. Try cooking it differently. Try putting a different sauce with it. Try doing something different with it, adding it to something you may enjoy eating.
That's
and
what I did. Yes,
exactly.
Mixing it in with some other things, and all of a sudden you actually start liking that food better too.
You do. For you know, most kids when they're growing up, they hate broccoli. Broccoli is gross. It's stinky. Yeah. Who eats broccoli? As you get older, your taste buds really do change.
They do.
Mom was right when she told you your taste buds will change.
Yeah.
And so you just try experimenting with those things, and you be flexible. For example, when I first started off after my 20-pound weight loss, I said, well, okay, I need to run. Everyone tells you to lose weight, you need to run. I'm not a runner. I'll run if someone is chasing me. And not very fast at that. But you know, different people have different ways to lose weight. For me, the exercise portion of it was not running. I knew that was a good way. It's a very good exercise, but for me, it just didn't work out.
Hard on the legs, too.
It's hard on the legs. It's hard on your knees. If you have a lot of weight to lose, that's probably not the best way to start off losing weight.
Definitely not.
You have to work up to it. So for me, it was dance. I love to dance.
Yes.
I put in an exercise video at home so I didn't have to go to the gym. I didn't have to wear those tight clothing in front of people I didn't want to show off my body to.
Yeah.
And I found what worked for me. You have to be really willing to adapt and flex your style according to what works.
Yeah, and on your website you called it movement, and I like that. Instead of exercise sounds like work, movement sounds like motion, like moving forward. So I noticed that right away when I was looking at your website. And yes, the running and the hard exercises, I couldn't do any of those in the beginning either because I had a leg injury. So I didn't do any exercise for the first 60 pounds, but I did it all with just starting to eat healthier, which paid off. But so what about things like I used delaying gratification? I want this, I know I can have it, I will have it, but I'm not having it today. Or maybe sometimes not even this morning, I'll have it later today. Or I'll have it next week. I got to where I would say, I'll have that next month. And as long as you know it's out there, it's okay. Did you have tricks like that you did to yourself?
A very similar
For
technique.
yourself?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to approach it. The way I talk about weight loss is you can have it all, just not all at once.
Yeah.
So the delayed gratification piece of it, if you have a piece of chocolate cake in front of you, you love chocolate. You can't deny yourself chocolate for the rest of your life, right? Who's going to do that?
Nobody.
So what you do is you take one bite. Enjoy that bite, soak it all in, just savor it. And then you put it aside. Maybe you pack it away and you save it for next week or next month or whatever you need to do. Maybe you share it with your friends. Sharing is caring. So you can still enjoy that food, but just not all at once. Little pieces.
Yeah, I like that. Sharing is real good, especially when you're at a restaurant and they bring those desserts. They're big enough for 2 or 3, maybe even 4 people, depending on if it's men with you or women or whatever it might be. So sharing works out real well. My husband and I do that. We split meals and we split desserts and things like that. Do you have substitutes for certain foods? Like I can substitute, this may not work for the audience. I'll substitute yogurt or cottage cheese for ice cream. Now that one I can see may not work for everybody, but I'll substitute cereal or granola for cookies, and both those things work for me. Did you have substitutes that would work for you?
Yes, I do to some extent. Sometimes I choose to go with a full-fat, high-calorie variety, depending on what it is I'm trying to accomplish that day. But I do love yogurt, Greek yogurt especially. But for me, it's just not going to satisfy my sweet tooth like ice cream would. So I don't necessarily substitute it. But in regards to baking, I love to bake.
Yeah.
I'll do a lot of substitutions in baking. So applesauce, apple butter, yogurt. Use those things instead of fat. Or use coconut oil instead of fat. Replace your half of your white flour with wheat flour or almond flour.
Okay.
I like to substitute a lot when it comes to baking because I love to bake.
Yeah.
My daughters love to eat what I bake, but I want to make sure that we're eating something that's fairly healthy for us.
Yeah, so substituting within the cake or the treats or the desserts that you're doing, that always works well too. I like that. And let's see, you joined the National Weight Loss, is it Control Registry?
National Weight Control Registry, yes.
I did too, shortly after I lost the weight. I don't know, remember where I came across that. But so how did that come about for you? Did you find them online?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think I was actually reading a magazine article that mentioned someone who had lost weight and that they were a member of the National Weight Control Registry. And at the time when I discovered it, I thought, well, it's been a few years since I've lost the weight.
Yeah.
I need to keep accountable somehow. And I wasn't part of a support group. My husband was very supportive, but I actually met him after I did most of the weight loss. So I didn't really have anyone to connect with. And I thought, what better way than to contribute to research on long-term weight loss, on maintaining weight loss, because there aren't a lot of outlets out there for people who do want resources for that. True. And I'm a big fan of education. I'm a big fan of research and studies and scientific methods of understanding how to beat obesity. So the National Weight Control Registry just fulfilled everything I was looking for. The accountability piece, they survey us every year. So even if we aren't on track with our goals, they still survey us and determine what's working and what's not. And then they submit those reports to us. So I know what other successful people are doing, and that helps me out a lot too.
Yeah, and they ask those questions, and I find that when I do get the survey and I start answering their questions, it opens me up to what have I been doing over the last year. Am I still on track? Last year I felt like I was off a little bit. This year I'm looking forward to their survey because I think I'm more on track than I was 1 year ago, and it'll probably change a little bit each year, but filling out that survey and that questionnaire helps to keep on track.
And it does.
Yes, it does. And so I'm wondering what other things that you've been doing that have helped as you've maintained.
Things that help for maintaining, just keeping a fun attitude about it. There will be ebbs and flows, just like everything in life. There will be times when maybe you go through a significant experience in your life. Maybe you have a baby, in my case, or something else is going on in your life, and you're going to eat through it sometimes because you can't stop all of those habits that you've always had in your life. But you just have to be realistic about what it is you're trying to do, and and go back to basics. Some people do it seasonally. Back to school is here. It's time to get on track with your schedule and your fitness. I joined a boot camp recently because I realized my fitness levels were lower than they should have been. So I said, okay, I'll do a 1-month fitness camp and get myself back on track. And just once in a while, you have to energize yourself in whatever way that means, whether it's joining a class or connecting with a group. Just making sure that you stay in tune with what your body is doing.
Well, and I think you brought up an important point. Major life changes, and for your generation, having a baby. For my generation, the hormonal changes that come after the age of 50 throw you way off. But that's also true of pregnancy, and I think the thing to remember if someone is faced with a change that's coming, whether it be having a baby, that's going to throw everything off for a period of several months to a year. And you need to know that what you did in your weight loss doesn't begin and end there, and it's not permanent. You just have to remember what you learned and go back to it as soon as you possibly can. Am I correct in that?
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And you just have to be easy on yourself. If you're going through a transition in your life, you already have enough on your plate. Do you really want to put weight loss at the top of that? Or, you will adjust your body as you need to. But sometimes you just have to go easy on yourself. There's a lot to deal with in life, and that's fine. Just go back on track, whatever way worked for you. You know how to get there.
Yeah, it's not a failure. It's just a change. It's a turn. It's a different thing that happens to you, and you might gain a few pounds for a while, But you know what to do, so you can go back to it. And you're right, if you don't beat yourself up over it, it makes a big difference.
Very much.
So how did it work with family and friends? And it took you about a year, I think it was. That's a short period of time if you haven't seen people for a while. And so do you have any interesting stories that came out of that?
Oh, I've gone through so much in the past. It's been about 12 years since I lost the weight.
That is a long time, yeah.
It has been a while. In that time, I've gotten married, I've had 2 babies, I've gone through job transition a couple of times.
Yeah,
A lot of things have
yeah.
happened in my life. I've had back surgery, which was a major surgery
That's
that
a big
impacted
one.
my fitness.
Yeah.
And, I try to keep a light attitude about it all. Like
Yeah.
you said, it's not a failure if you gain, and I have gained weight. Everyone gains weight.
Yeah.
But I never let it get past a certain point. And I think that's what really sets off people who are successful at keeping weight off. They have times where they fall off the wagon, but then they realize it's not acceptable. They don't completely revert back to their old ways. And I think that's one thing that's worked out for you as well. You're like, okay, I know I'm getting off track. It's time to get back on track. In terms of fun stories for things I've done, I've done just about everything. But one of the things that I really enjoyed doing as far as fitness is hooping.
What's that?
Hooping is hula hooping.
Oh, I remember that.
Hooping is actually, it's really fun, of course. I was never able to do it as a child, but I took a hula hooping class at my community education center in Edina, and it's so fun. The bigger and wider and heavier the hoop, the easier it is for you to do it.
Really?
So I finally learned how to hula hoop at the age of whatever, in my 30s, but it was so fun. And I actually bought a hoop and I took it home, and I took it out with my daughters, and we'd be doing dance parties in my living room, and we'd have the hula hoop going, and I learned certain tricks like putting it around your neck and swinging it on your arm. It's a lot of fun. And 10 minutes worth of hooping, you can get a flat abs. You can work on those core muscles, which really helps when you're trying to lose baby weight. But it was just a lot of fun. Yeah.
I hadn't even heard that was being done. I think I saw some hula hoopers at a county fair, but that was some kids and some younger people. I hadn't even thought of it as a form of exercise or fitness, but it does sound like fun. Do you do it to music?
I do. Yeah, I crank out my tunes and I get going, and sometimes I do it outside because when the fall is here, just like now, I love being outdoors. I love when the leaves fall down, and it just feels there's studies out there that say when you exercise in nature, not only do you get a better workout, but you feel better afterwards. And not just from the exercise, but also from being outdoors. We're people of the earth, and we want to have the earth around us, so it makes us feel comforted and relaxed.
Yeah. Well, tell me a little bit about the work that you do, your website, and the work that you do, and how, if someone's out there that wants to get in touch with you, how they can reach you and what you do.
Okay, well, thank you for asking. My company is called Weightless, LLC. The reason why I chose Weightless is because I feel that the point of losing weight is so that you can live great. And to me, living great doesn't mean that you're constantly in the gym, that you're avoiding those foods that you most love, and that you're like just crazy about the scale. That's not what living great means to me. So Weightless is an idea that you're free to live life the way you want to. Like a balloon. It floats in the air. It can go fly towards whatever dream it wants to achieve. So that was the purpose of Weightless. In terms of connecting with me, I'm on Facebook. I have a website, weightlesschronicles.com. I do have an event coming up for those in the audience who want to know more. It's on October 30th. I'm co-presenting. It's called Less is More. I'm co-presenting with Kristen Brown, and it's at Ridgedale Library from 6 to 8 o'clock, and I will provide the link for that after this show if that works out. But I'd love to see you and all of your friends there. What I like to focus on for my company, it's all about presenting tricks that the average busy woman can do in her day to lose weight or keep it off. And I'm anti-gym. I'm anti-weight loss products, support groups, all those things. Not that you don't need support, but I do feel that you can get support at home. You can get support through resources such as my company. through resources such as your book. There's a lot of support out there, but you don't need to pay thousands of dollars to get a personal trainer, to get a nutritionist to do meal planning for you. You just need a little bit of tips and tricks. You need a little bit of knowledge, some basic knowledge that everyone can do every day. And that's what I provide at Weightless.
Oh, that's so great. You would have fit in perfectly had I known of you when I got onto my program. I got there anyway, but you would have been a great help. Well, thank you for being here today, Jennifer.
Thank you for having me, Nadia. I really enjoyed today.
Bye now.